Hey guys, Terraglot here, and today we're going to be looking at how to pronounce the name of Fontaine characters. While most of you here know that I speak 13 languages...
No, you know, like 90 languages, you're a personal...
13,
okay,
yes.
hey, that's 90 to me, my friend.
What you may not know is the fact that French is one of the two languages I use the most in my daily life. And with Fontaine coming out in a few days, I thought it would be helpful to give everyone an idea of how the names will be pronounced in French, and also how I think it should be pronounced in English without sounding too much like a snob or an ignorant, person who doesn't even bother trying. Let's go. Well, first, we're gonna start with the name of the region itself. And in French, the name of the region is actually pronounced Fontaine. Fontaine, which actually means fountain. But obviously this is not how it's gonna be said in English, and according to the version 4.0 trailer, the name is pronounced...
But a prophecy has been circulating around Fontaine.
And there you have it, guys. Fontaine. Now, moving on to characters. We're gonna start with the first ever vision holder from Fontaine, whom we met back in 3.7. And in French, her name is pronounced Charlotte. Charlotte. While this is a French name, it is also a name that is pretty commonly used in English-speaking countries today, and so we do have a pretty standard English pronunciation for it, which is Charlotte. Charlotte. I wonder if she'll be playable. Next, we have Freminet. Freminet. And I think in English, it would probably sound something like Freminet. And then we have the twins, whose names shouldn't be too hard to pronounce for English speakers since they're not exactly French names. But if I were to say them in French, they would sound something like Lyney and Lynette. In English, Lyney and Lynette, I guess.
Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the English voice actor for Lyney.
Next, we have Clorinde. Or at least that's how I would say it with my accent québécois, but someone from France might say something more like Clorinde. Sorry. As for the English pronunciation, well, this is when it gets a little complicated since there is no equivalent for that French nasal vowel in English. But if I were to say it, it'd probably be Clorinde. And while they're not always the same, I thought maybe taking a look at how the name is spelled and pronounced and some of the other in-game languages might point us towards the right direction. So, if you're curious, this is how the name is said in Mandarin, Japanese, and Korean respectively. Clorinde, Clorinde, 그리고 Clorinde. Not sure if that helps, but now you know. Moving on, we have Neuvillette. Neuvillette. Now I know some French speakers out there might argue that it should be pronounced Neuvillette, since the double L in French is sometimes pronounced something like an English Y, but I'm personally going with the L sound, since if you break down the name into parts, Neuve means new, ville means city, and et is a suffix that, in this case, would mean small. Put them together and you have Neuvillette. New, small city. And if you say it with English sounds, it would probably sound something like Neuvillette, I guess. The next one's fairly straightforward as it's not a French name. Some of you might call her Navia, but I'd personally stress the first syllable and say Navia, since it's closer to Navia, the original pronunciation in Galician, a language spoken in Spain. Finally, we have our Hydro Archon. Her common name, Furina or Furina, should be a pretty easy one, but as for her demon name, I initially thought it would be pronounced something like Focalors, which would be closer to the original Latin pronunciation. But, as we've heard in the 4.0 trailer, it is actually pronounced
Focalors.
Yep, Focalors. Which kinda makes sense if you look at the way it's spelled in French, with the cedilla, or the C with the tail, telling us that it is indeed pronounced Focalors in French. Our final two names actually have absolutely nothing to do with the French language, and honestly I had no idea how they're supposed to be pronounced, but after doing a bit of research and putting my linguistics degree to use, I've decided to go with Sigewinne, considering its Anglo-Saxon Germanic origin, Sigewinne, and Wriothesley. Now, the pronunciation of Wriothesley is honestly an ongoing debate, since there are actually many different ways this name has been pronounced over the years depending on the dialect of English you speak, and examples include Wriothesley, Risley, Resley, Wriothesley, Rosley, Roxley, did someone say Rockley? And Wriothesley. Again, if it helps, and if you're curious as to how these two names are spelled and pronounced in some of the other endgame languages with a different script, here they are. For Sigewinne, we have Sigewinne, 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 и по-русски Sigewinne. As for Wriothesley, we have Wriothesley, 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 и, наконец, Risley. So, which one do we go with? Honestly, at this point, I'd say go with whichever you're comfortable with, and let's wait and see how the VAs pronounce it when the time comes. And that's it for the potentially playable Fontaine characters so far. I hope you guys found this video helpful, and if you enjoyed this one, please consider dropping a like and subscribing for more awesome Genshin language and music content. All the best with your polls and the upcoming banners, and I'll see you soon. Merci et à la prochaine.